This is just a short video to cover two topics, namely plagiarism and the use of the Socrative application, which we will use for administering quizzes in this course. Let us start with plagiarism. I'm sure all of you have been told many, many times about plagiarism, and it's at this point, taking 203, you're probably juniors or seniors, so you've had plenty of experience with it. You've probably been tempted by it. Hopefully none of you have ever committed it, but it is my duty as instructor of this course to let you know what I think plagiarism is and what I believe the penalties for plagiarism should be. I don't do this simply as an intellectual exercise, but because every single semester I am forced to explain to my students what plagiarism is once they have committed plagiarism, and to listen to their excuses and to explain to them over and over again that they knew beforehand or should have known beforehand what plagiarism was and shouldn't have fallen into that trap. So first of all, let's turn to what the AUB Student Handbook describes plagiarism as. And I don't particularly like this definition they give there, but we'll pick through it and find what the good parts are and get rid of the bad parts. So in the handbook it says, plagiarism exists when students claim as their own the work of others. If I were writing this, I would throw out that sentence. Why? Obviously plagiarism, if you use the work of others, and you do not cite it, then that is plagiarism. So that much is correct in a sentence. But the problem with the sentence is the word claim. You don't have to claim that something is your own in order for it to be plagiarism. What I mean by that is if something is in a paper or an exam or in any other context, if you use the idea of someone else and you do not explicitly claim that it is theirs, you do not state that it is theirs, then that is plagiarism. You don't have to claim that it's your own in order for it to be plagiarism. It is, in a sense, claimed to be your own if, and by default, if you do not point out that it belongs to someone else. So far, so good. So you don't have to say this is mine for it to be plagiarism. You simply have to use it under the assumption that whoever is reading your work will believe that it's yours, or will not know thereby that it's someone else's. Long story short, if you put something into your paper and it came from someone else and you do not cite it, it is then by definition plagiarism, whether you intended or not. So let's go to the next sentence. Students who fail to credit properly, so to give citations, right, properly, ideas or materials taken from another, commit plagiarism. Again, I would quibble with this just a little bit. Crediting properly, so you should just, if you fail to credit someone else or give them credit for their work, then you've committed plagiarism. You can, of course, incorrectly credit someone, and it doesn't become plagiarism thereby, of course. So that's why I would perhaps delete this word. Okay, let's go on. Putting your name on a piece of work, any part of which is not yours, constitutes plagiarism, unless that piece is clearly marked and the work from which you have borrowed is fully identified. Okay, again, I would slightly change this and I would say you don't have to put your name on it. If you turn it in as an assignment, whether your name's on it or not, then it is plagiarism. So if you turn in any work for this course and do not cite your sources, that constitutes plagiarism, unless that piece is clearly marked and the work from which you have borrowed is fully identified. Great. Finally, plagiarism is a violation of the university academic regulations and is subject to disciplinary action. So in this course, I treat plagiarism as the university wants me to treat it. My penalty is if you plagiarize any kind of material in this course or you otherwise cheat, then you fail the entire course. And I have to submit a form which reports you to the academic disciplinary committee. Usually what happens then is that the committee meets, they consider your case, you have a chance to respond. So in rare instances, students are found to have not committed plagiarism, but in the majority of cases, the instructor or professor is correct. Once you are found guilty of such a violation, they uphold the whatever penalty the instructor imposes, and it is then marked on your academic transcript, which is a very serious matter, which I'm sure you want to avoid, and I want to avoid. None of us want any of this to happen. So, a few extra words about plagiarism, just to solidify that. What is plagiarism? Students who fail to credit the ideas of other taken from another. I think this is pretty much all you need. You need to credit the ideas. Ideas is a key word here. Notice it doesn't say not words, phrases, information, paraphrase. It doesn't say any of these things. It says ideas. Why ideas? Take a moment and think about that. Why doesn't it say students who fail to give credit for using the words of another person, the phrases, the information, or students who fail to note that they are paraphrasing someone else? Why doesn't it say that? Well, the reason is because ideas make for a much better and a much more precise definition of what plagiarism is. The way I like to explain this is to say plagiarism is much like a disease. And now, it's not a disease because it's bad or negative, which it is, but it's like a disease in that you can have a disease without having any kind of symptoms of that disease. People can have diseases for decades, and only later does it turn out that anyone finds out that they had that disease all along. So you can have a disease without having any of the symptoms of the disease. And just because you have the symptoms of a disease doesn't mean that you have the disease, right? These two things are related, and a good doctor will know to what extent the symptoms are indicative of the disease, but they can't tell you you don't have a disease simply by looking at you and testing you. Certain diseases, of course. Plagiarism is like that, in that plagiarism is like the disease. You can plagiarize without there being any symptoms of plagiarism. Symptoms of plagiarism are that that words are copied from someone else, phrases are copied from someone else, information is copied from someone else, and you can see that in the text, right? Those are the symptoms of another act, which is plagiarism, which is the use of the ideas. So ideas is really nice because it can't be seen. Where are your ideas? Can I see your ideas? They're in your head, they're in your mind. They're intrinsically invisible, like a disease. They are not to be mixed up with the symptoms. So the practical point that comes out of this is you can have plagiarized without having copied anyone's words or their phrases or their information, or failing to cite when you paraphrase them. All of those things do constitute plagiarism, but you could still plagiarize without having those in your paper. And indeed, I've had certain students that I've ended up failing or otherwise penalizing for plagiarism when they had none of those symptoms, but I had other ways of knowing that the work was not their own. So keep that in mind. Anything in this course, I don't know exactly all of the forms of assessment that I'm going to use at this moment in this course, and they may change. Just so you will have certain chances to plagiarize or to cheat. I would say generally just stay away from the idea. You don't need for this course any outside sources. All of the sources you possibly need to get the highest grade in this course are in the reader and in the supplementary book Faust that you'll purchase later in the semester. So looking to others' ideas won't really help you at all in this course anyways, so don't think about it. And if you do, if you find it helpful to read other sources, then absolutely cite those. Does not take away in any way from your work. In fact, it makes your work look better. Okay, so let's solidify this by going to the learning a little bit about the Socrative quiz platform, as I told you about. So throughout the course, there will be a number of quizzes, particularly when I have you watch a video for this course. After the video, I will open up a quiz, and you will be able to go to a certain website and take that quiz. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So the website is called Socrative.com. There are two different ways to access it. You can go to our CVSP website, aubcvsp203.weebly.com. You'll be very familiar with this, so don't worry. You go to this homepage, you click Zoom Classes, Grading, and Contact. You go down to here and you see Socrative, and it says room name CVSP203. Let's click that. Aha, here we get the login screen for Socrative. Alternatively, you can go to Socrative.com. You click on Login, Student Login, and we're there as well. I believe they also have an app that you can use. So now it said somewhere, room name CVSP203. So let's put that in here, CVSP203. Hit enter and see what happens. Enter your name, okay. Done. Aha, so here's a question. Which of these is closest to the definition of plagiarism? A, copying someone else's words. Well, that is definitely plagiarism. Which of these is the closest definition? So I'm looking for the closest definition, not just any definition. B, using someone else's ideas without giving them credit explicitly. That sounds very close. Using someone else's ideas, it doesn't say words or phrases or anything. So this seems to be likely the correct answer. Let's see what the rest are. Copying someone else's words without giving them credit. That also is plagiarism, but it's not closest to the definition because it just says words. There are many other ways to plagiarize than using their words. D, paraphrasing someone else's words without giving them credit. Same thing. This is an example of plagiarism, but it is not plagiarism as a whole. So the best answer would be B. Okay, submit answer. Aha, correct. This is how it will go. So correct. Explanation. Plagiarism is any use of another's ideas without giving them explicit credit. If you use someone else's words or paraphrase their words, then you are using their ideas. But you can use their ideas without using their words or paraphrasing them. So B is the best answer. Hit OK. Now I have question 2. Which of these is closest to the definition of plagiarism? I seems to be a problem with the, did I repeat the same? Okay, skip that. Question 3, I can plagiarize without intending to do so. Well, that would seem unlikely. Students sometimes ask me, can this happen? And I tell them, in general, it will not happen. But could it happen? Is it possible to plagiarize without intending to do so? Let's see, what would be a possibility? Well, the definition of plagiarism says, if I use anyone else's ideas without explicitly giving them credit. So what if I accidentally forget to give them credit? Does that constitute plagiarism? Well, according to the definition, it certainly does. So let's try true and see what happens. Okay, correct. I can plagiarize without intending to do so. Okay, let's see how this is the case. This one is tricky. No one else knows what you intend or do not intend to do. So we must judge your actions based upon the available evidence. If you use someone else's ideas, words, phrases, results, etc., without giving them explicit credit, then you have plagiarized no matter what you intended to do. Okay, so the key to this one is you have to think about it from the point of view of the professor, from my point of view. I don't know what you can intend. And of course, no person who plagiarizes will ever admit that they intended to plagiarize, or they don't usually admit that. So we just have to go upon what we find in the paper. And if there are in your paper or in your answer things that are cited, things that are not cited that come from someone else, then that is straightforward plagiarism, no matter what was going on in your mind. Okay, next question 4. If I am scheduled to graduate and under a lot of pressure and decide to plagiarize or otherwise cheat, my professor will take mercy on me. You might understand why this question is here. This case has happened many, many times, and the answer is, I can tell you with confidence, it is false. Your professor will not take mercy on you. Explanation: your personal circumstances are entirely irrelevant to any decision about your grade in this course. And you can take this generally. Students write emails all the time asking, saying, pleading, I have the scholarship, I can't fail, so on. And that puts me and others in a difficult position in one respect, because we're human beings and we do sympathize. On the other hand, it is our duty not to take those other issues into account when determining your grade. Grades are measures of academic achievement, not of how much money you have or do not have, or whether you're a senior ready to graduate or whatever. So we have to assign grades strictly on the basis of academic performance. I'm sure you understand that. Question 5 of 7. If I plagiarize on an assignment in this course, the following will most likely occur. Let's see if you can remember what I said previously. A, I will fail part of the assignment that I plagiarized, but will be graded on the rest of my work. No, that will not happen. Once you've plagiarized at all in an assignment, then you have fully plagiarized or cheated in the assignment, and none of the work there any longer is taken into account by me. Sometimes students ask, they say I need to pass. I only plagiarized the first paragraph. The rest of it is my own work. And the answer to that is, that's too bad that you plagiarized the first paragraph, because then you wasted the rest of your work there. B, I will fail the assignment or exam I plagiarized on. That is true, but maybe that's not the whole truth. Let's see. I will be failed in the course. That is true, but perhaps that is not the full truth. D, I will be failed in the course and will be reported for disciplinary action by the university. Yes, that is correct. 6, the best and likely easiest way to do well in this course is plagiarize? No. Trust my own intelligence, take pride in my own work, learn what I am paying to be taught by reading and attending class, and have a good time doing it? Yes, I would say definitely the case. C, plagiarism? No. D, cheat? No. Okay. Silly question. Finally, question 7. I fully understand what plagiarism is and what its consequences will be in this course and have no further questions. I agree to the above. Submit answer. Okay. And you've completed the activity. Now, when you've completed the activity, I can log in. Let's close this and close this. Go to teacher login. Oh wait, I can't let you see me log in. Oh yes, it's blanked out. Results. You see, I can see your name and I can see your results. And that's how the Socrative platform works. I'm able from my dashboard to open up the quiz at a certain time of day and then to close it. So for instance, with this plagiarism quiz, I will give you a time. I'll email you a time when it opens up, and you will have to take this quiz yourself after watching this video. And then I will give you a time by which you have to have submitted your answers. And at that moment, the quiz will close. Okay, good luck.